Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on FOA Live this week. Pleasure to reconnect with everyone. And if you wanted to verify that I use a virtual background, today it is humming, so sorry about that. But given the range of travel that Rush and I do and the various locations, depending on the background, we were just in Vegas last week, as we were going to talk about a little bit. And you never know the pictures on the wall or anything else, so the background is always safest. But this green shirt seems to not love that. So anyway, wonderful to connect with all of you. And Jennifer Katrulya, of course, co-president here of Family Office Association. And as always, very excited to be joined by Rush Olney. Rush, happy Monday.
Thank you. Yeah, it was exciting weekend, and it was an exciting Sunday for lots of reasons, but good morning, afternoon, and evening to everybody that's joined us. We're excited to be here with you, and we have probably, I would imagine, a little housekeeping.
We do. So we have a few things to touch on today. And so we have just returned from Vegas from the Formula One event, and had the opportunity to network with a number of you, some of you who I know are often on this show, whether we got to see you or whether there were a lot of text messages and best efforts. And we'll probably see you in Miami for Art Basel. But again, great to have the experience this weekend. And we'll talk about the F1 races, because I know a lot of people are looking ahead already to May for Miami, and then what 2024 holds. And interestingly, I signed in this morning, or happened to click on the link to get in for the Vegas hospitality for next year. Just, I don't even know why I clicked the button, but there were over 3,000 people ahead of me. So clearly it's something that people have jumped on already today. But as far as housekeeping, definitely want to provide some updates. So with the F1 races in the books and learning this year as far as Family Office Association and presence there, I think safe to say that it was a top event for families. A little bit difficult, as we'll talk about, to kind of network across so many suites and so many locations where people kind of ducked in. So I think next year we'll have some better planning overall, the events themselves, in terms of how to better connect people. But again, a phenomenal experience. So we'll circle back to that. I do want to extend a special welcome and thank you to two new Resource Council members we're welcoming to the FOA family. Paulsonelli Law Firm and also the Greater Casey Community Foundation have now joined our group of professionals and resources for our family office members. So you'll see them added to the FOA website very soon. And again, thank you, and excited to have them on board with us. Have known Paulsonelli and some of the individuals there, Bill Mahood, who I'm sure we'll have on a future show, and some of the other partners we've had the pleasure of getting to know. Very, very appreciative. And again, Greater Casey Community Foundation will learn a lot from and about them in the weeks ahead as well. So that's great news that we keep adding to that community in what we're proud is, the right way, in a way that's very supportive of families and as a true resource. Also, for next week on our show, we will be welcoming North Spring Partners, one of our Resource Council members, and specifically Marshall Johnson and Nathan Day. And so we're excited to get back to, Rush and I have been sharing information with you for a number of weeks and updates, but to bring them, onto the show next week and to kick back off our guest spots. So looking forward to that as well. Rush, just kind of looking at, before we start to talk about the path forward and the Art Basel events and what we have going on there, just because we've been on the F1 topic, you went to Singapore and were welcomed by some great hosts there, courtesy of some of our members and friends. So thank you for everybody again who made that an experience for Rush. And then on to Austin. We were with a number of families there, and then of course now Vegas. So you and I were talking a little bit about the events as far as, from a community standpoint, from a sport aspect, in terms of the quality of the events. And as people are looking to next year, we know there's already a family office event in May that people are eyeing. So what are your thoughts, feedback? You've been a fan for a long time. So
thank you. Yeah, real quick, just on the Singapore front, thank Shirley, and Charles Chong, and Michael Ma, who all were very nice there. It was more of an internal group in Austin, but I'd like to thank you, Jennifer, for doing all the legwork to get that in place, and on all three of them, honestly, just making it happen behind the scenes, and then also being on the ground, and coordinating everything. And then in Vegas, wanted to thank Giovanni, who's been on several of the calls and has given good feedback and questions in the comments section. He also introduced us to, and unfortunately, because of, quite frankly, the chaos and pandemonium that was Vegas F1, we weren't able to coordinate meetings with Tim Turpin and Jeff, I might slay the last name, Deidenhofer, who he'd made introductions to. We look forward to connecting with Giovanni and that group, hopefully at Art Basel, but soon, nonetheless.
You all tried, and we appreciate it. Very kind of you. So we'll be connecting in Miami.
It was Vegas was having been there a few times. It was like Vegas with a million more people and an obstacle course, because they had bollards and fences, and it was entertaining. If anybody ever watches competitive tag, which they now air on ESPN, it was like that, but with a million people in the arena. So lots of fun, entertaining, very much like a Griswold family trip. The races, it was really fun to go, in my subjective and humble opinion as an F1 fan. I ended up being able to go to what I would say were the three most competitive races on the calendar this year. It was interesting because Singapore is at night. It's a road course, very similar to what they were looking for in Vegas. Singapore has been on the calendar for, I believe, over 20 years. So the way that operated and the efficiency of setup, tear down, the migration of fans in and out of the stadium and the arena went very smoothly. COTA, or Austin, is an actual race track. So it's set up for that. It runs and operates smoothly. And then Vegas was an adventure. Leading into it, there was a lot of opinions, a lot of them prefaced by the last time they ran F1 in Vegas, which was 1982, which, to my understanding, has gone down in the annals of history, F1 history, as the worst F1 race ever. And
if you're from Vegas or have a loyalty to that, don't start sending us hate.
This is not judgment. These are again what I've read. I wasn't there. I actually have never seen the race, but that's what is out there on the web. So it started off in a living up to that 82 hype. 20 minutes into practice one, there was a water access cover, and the entire metal or steel placement of that actually was pulled out of the ground.
As many of you have probably seen on the post since then, but yeah.
When a car was going over it, and those are probably designed for normal traffic as it's on a road, and the force when an F1 car is going over any surface is roughly 2 tons of vacuum pressure that is that is a product of the aero system and the downforce that these cars operate at. And a funny thing, if you're into science, is that at speed, an F1 car can drive on the ceiling and won't fall off because the downforce on that vehicle is greater than the weight of the vehicle. So I don't.
So if you're feeling left out that you've never driven on a ceiling, clearly F1 is your life path.
Yeah. I don't expect that they're going to do this as an exercise to prove anything, but just, scientifically speaking, there's enough pressure and force from the aero package and the floor and everything to offset the weight of it, so it can defy gravity. All that said, 20 minutes in, we take one of the Ferraris out and another car on the same with the same issue. They then send everybody home because they don't know when they're going to be able to run even the rest of P1, let alone P2. In that day, they did take 6 hours. They went and permanently sealed all manhole covers, water access points, grates, anything that could possibly come up with force outside of just the concrete pad or the tarmac on the track.
Sorry.
Oh, and they ran P2 at 3 a.m, which probably woke everybody up that was staying on the strip, and then moved through with P3 qualifying, and then the race came. You have Jennifer.
Well, no. So I realized, so what we're sharing is we actually had the opportunity to view some of this from our vantage point. And so we'll post some videos. And for those of you, again, who are fans, we know you tuned in and saw everything that followed, but we do have pictures, video, etc. We'll make sure we share with all of you, and look forward to including you in the future events. So we'll post those as soon as possible, because we do have confirmation that we'll be attending and what that will look like. So thank you, Rush, for we'll even, I think it makes sense for us to do a couple posts. We'll add to the website so that we get more feedback and share an article and things like that. But so thank you to everyone again who had any involvement in either of the whether it was Austin, Singapore, or Vegas, and look forward to next time. And now, as far as the go forward and our work to get to Art Basel, want to share, and this is on the FOA website with the exception of one event that we have coming up, the 6th, 7th, and 8th of December, we will be very, very active at Art Basel. On the 6th, we have a very, very exclusive event that we're excited to co-host with Latin Ignition, led by Consuelo Vanderbilt and Emilio Stefan. And if you saw when Consuelo was with us a few weeks back, we shared a bit about that event, but more information to follow. That one will be very tight, member only for FOA to be able to join us. So if you have questions, let us know. And same thing with the 7th of December, where for sure members only, and that will be part of the Impact Wealth Magazine Winter Edition launch at Art Basel. And on both, they will be great yacht events. Very much looking forward to those and to sharing the experience with everyone. And so we'll have those. And on the 8th, we actually have an opportunity to host a retreat during the day with a small number of families, Resource Council members, and special guests. And in the evening, we will be having a wellness and lifestyle retreat, which will include opportunities to experience things with our wellness partners, as well as with great guests, one of whom is going to host a bourbon and overall liquor tasting opportunity for people, and we're excited to have that relationship. And then in addition, we will be meeting with a number of people just to really talk about the year ahead and celebrate the fun that is Art Basel. So if you have questions, let us know. There is still the possibility, and we'll be posting information about it today. And Rush will certainly be the lead face for this. I love when I throw this stuff out there and we just wait. But on Thursday, for us to spend some time on a little tour of the Wynwood area and see some of I know Miles Spencer, who you've all met before, who's been on the show, has some ties there as well. And so a tour of the area and spend some time actually in the galleries and viewing the art in the area. Looking forward to that as well. So I just want to point out that, again, these events especially are very, very full. They are going to be members and resource council first. So if you're not a current member, great time to become one, and certainly see us if you have any questions. And only then will we offer the remaining opportunities to others. And we do ask that you just be aware that the RSVPs will need approval. So thank you very much, and we're looking forward to that. So Rush, I know you and I have been talking quite a bit about the peer communities and the rollout of those, and best practice and emerging requirements or rules with regard to, let's say, EB5. I know I've been receiving a number of inquiries, whether it's about, year-end charitable giving, donations, things like that, as people are thinking about their year-end tax planning. I'm also getting a number of inquiries about individuals who are looking at their cybersecurity for next year, either setting up or updating their family office structure, how to best receive services for their family offices. So you and I end up in the best practice realm a lot for people. And I guess the general tip I would share as we're communicating with those on the call is to kind of follow that lead. I know we're now in holiday time, et cetera, but it is one of the times of the year where families actually spend the most time together and get the most time to sit down and talk. So we are going to be, first of all, launching the new FOA website. Excited to share that with the members and resource council who are on. You'll be receiving your welcome emails, but we're going to be spending a lot of time over the next, couple of months and into the beginning of 24, really focused on best practice in each of the key areas of a family office, whether that's from staffing or financial management, certainly from cybersecurity, and each of those key areas. So welcome having you all follow along in a masterclass format with us and take that journey and use it as kind of a due diligence project for your own family office and for those you work with. Rush, in terms of some of the learnings you and I have had in terms of working with EB5 families, that I think actually carries over really well, just for people kind of buttoning up and keeping their planning in check. As we're talking about the needs that people have to just track their current status of things and their current need for professionals, if you had to give a couple of tips, let's focus on EB5 for a second, but for families who are thinking about making that move and kind of the lessons learned, do you have a top 5 of tips you would share?
Through, I guess the top 5 tips, I think the biggest one, and it resonates through not just EB5, but in general, is education. So many of the families that I work with and that we've been working with now, the education component, and I'll kind of put it to not knowing what you don't know, or knowing what you don't know. The what comes up the most is I didn't know I was going to need to do that, or I wasn't aware that that's something that was going to come up. And so that's where working with either a mentor or working with a group that can help line item those needs and then rank them out becomes vitally important, and sort of helping set out and map out when things should be done to ease stress, when you can preemptively, if you know what to look for, you can preemptively plan out and give yourself enough time to get a structure or a response to that in place is unequivocally the largest thing. And then the other 5, obviously, security, finances, communication, those things sort of fall within that, on when to set structures up. And the only time that you'd know when you need something set up or to plan for something is if you're educated on what that process looks like. So I would say the education component feeds or affects all of those the most. So that's what we end up walking through is just sort of is to set out a checklist of what all requirements, no matter the project or the interest, investment, move, any of that, what the next year will look like. You have to be educated on what the requirements will be and how to best tackle those. So that would be, uh, you know, figure the education component out, and then you'll be able to piece those together and see what kind of timelines are required or are comfortable for you to get those in place.
So planning ahead, I think for everyone, if you're looking to kind of approach your best practices, and this will be specifically something we're rolling out for EB5, but also for single and multifamily offices we work with. What will challenge you, you're going to start to hear after Art Basel, we'll spend the rest of the year kind of talking about the due diligence approach to kind of going through your family office structure, going through your best practices, and really from a checklist format, we'll share out some sample resources and checklists to work through together. But we'll really be using the month of January, especially to go through a multi-week kind of best practice tune-up for family offices, and certainly a structure discussion about if you're contemplating the EB5 move. But so whatever your approach is and whatever your current world or plan is with regard to your family office, we are going to be very focused on the second half of December and then the month of January on really going through in a very systemized way each area of best practice and recommended changes and resources for those of you who want to button things up. So excited to share that experience and journey with you. And if you have any questions or areas that are especially important to you and you want to make sure we cover, what I'd say is please send your inquiries to communications@familyofficeassociation.us or reach out to us on LinkedIn. And that way we make sure that, this is really of service to you and that we're incorporating that content into everything we share. We are going to be coming up. We were talking about Art Basel a little bit. Our next New Year event or events will be starting in January. We'll have recurring lunches in a smaller, more intimate setting in Connecticut. We've mentioned that we kindly have Miles Spencer leading those. We will be doing the same in New York City, Kansas City, and in LA. And then we have, and so if it's not Russia or me personally at the lunches, we've had some kind people step up from within our FOA membership and agree to be our regional ambassadors to lead those events. And I expect we'll be adding Miami and Scottsdale as well. So we'll continue to do that in a number of cities. And then Rush and I will be able to attend and join in with everyone. But I think it's really exciting and rewarding that we have families who have asked to be able to step up and make sure we have on the ground presence to really support doing those things more frequently. And then our next signature event will be in Arizona. For those of you who have been talking about for the last year or almost year, the return to the great Airbnb and now hotel rooms become an option since it's not a Super Bowl city this year. But what we did as far as our annual golf tournament for FOA, as well as our family office retreat and our visit to the Waste Management Phoenix Open. And that will be during Waste Management Week in February, which I want to say is the 6th to the 8th, but we have it marked on the site. So I'll fact check myself and make sure we have those dates correct. Rush, I think in terms of, we've been obviously on the run for the last several weeks, and so reporting a lot of travel and event updates. And so we know everybody hopefully is headed into a nice week with some family time and some time to catch up. And as we retool as well and make sure we've used the learning from the last several months of shows to make some improvements and tweak our approach. We thank you very much, those of you who have been spending the time with us. And then, Rush, as we come into the month of December, I know we've talked about a return to having our families and our resource council guests on. And I know you are planning some long form discussions as well. So we'll keep everybody posted. Rush, for those who aren't as familiar, because I actually wasn't until I spent some time with you, when you're hearing kind of top trends in the long form discussions and things that you don't have to, we won't hold you to it, but your wish list of things you'd love to bring to the community, what are some of those that we might look forward to?
I think, and I don't want to incite a panic on it, so I won't use the C word, but blockchain and opportunities in Web3 that are not associated with crypto, but are actual businesses and service businesses and other ways to work in Web3 that are not tied in any way to the currencies. It will be a very poignant and pointed topic, and I think something that a lot of people, uh, even if they've considered, have it's sort of an awakening of that Web3 is a business platform, and that all the ancillary businesses and support businesses that are currently out there for Web2 are going to be required in some capacity for Web3. And if you don't have a great understanding of Web3, we will have people come on that are discussing service businesses and for Web3. There's a group that is in the Web3 space who are using it as a real estate play. So I think those will be very interesting topics. I think uh, the the thought on what impact Web3 will have on legacy businesses that are currently out there will also be a very interesting topic. And then we have cross paths with several people who work internationally, and I think long form discussions on global impact with everything that's going on, because there's a significant amount of altercations and disagreements that have escalated, and what those impacts may be and may mean both locally but abroad. So those are two of the topics that I would like to see us tackle in long form, and I think would be very beneficial to the group as a whole.
Great. Well, Rush, thank you very much. And so we'll be posting information about those upcoming events as well, and excited to share with anyone again your topics. Happy to take requests or questions. And otherwise, we're going to wish everyone, certainly in the U.S., a wonderful holiday week. And for those of you elsewhere, thank you again for joining us. We're excited to catch up. And Rush, any closing comments you may have?
Just thank everybody for taking the time to spend with us. Enjoy your holiday weekend or your weekend in general, and we will see you here bright and early, or at lunch, or in the middle of the night, depending on where you are. And we always appreciate it and look forward to it. So thank you.
Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Have a great week. Thanks.